Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, all the members of the No DQ Galaxy. I am the Wizard of No DQ, Stephen Osborne, joined as always by the General Jerry Slaughter, and we are here to bring you our 4th edition of What's NXT.
Yes.
This is for the NXT for October 17th, which we just got done watching, and we are anxious to talk to you about. Despite ourselves, when we first saw this NXT show start up, I thought this was going to be a dud show.
I had high hopes walking into it. I've been hyped up for, this double main event that they've been broadcasting for and setting us up for. And I'm going to say it right now, the start of the show caught me off guard. It really did.
What he's referring to is, we thought that the show was going to main event with the Tag Team Championship.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I know the Tag Team Championship is not one that normally main events anything, but that's usually because it's defended on a card where the NXT Championship is being defended.
Yeah.
And if not, it's a blood match between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, and that's going to main event. But at the very least,
it's usually some sort of crazy stipulation match, or the world title is the main event, or some form of title defense.
But at the very least, this was the only championship being defended on this episode of NXT. So when we started the show off with the War Raiders coming out, and to be honest, it's only been a couple of months, so I'm not necessarily used to the War Raiders theme song and knowing that it's going to be them. But maybe 5 seconds in, I'm like, yeah, that's the War Raiders. We're starting off with an NXT championship. I mean, tag team, but still, it's the only championship being defended on the show, and it's the first match in. So automatically, I'm like, oh, this has got to be a dud show. What in the hell's going on?
Yeah, basically, my mentality was, if they're going to be starting off with a world title match, of any kind of match like that, chances are whatever we have for the rest of the night better be super special, because that, or
well, the fact that it was billed as a double main event with the NXT champions, the Undisputed Era. You've got Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong defending against Rowe and Hanson of the War Raiders.
Been building since Takeover.
That's been building since NXT Takeover Chicago. And you've got the other main event, which is Nikki Cross and Bianca Belair in a grudge match, because their one and only other match together, well, it has ended in a no contest yeah. or a double countout or whatever it was. Indecisive, no winner. I don't know if it means no loser, but they are still saying that, Belair is undefeated.
Whenever they say no contest, it's a draw. The match has been pretty much thrown out. It may not even appear in the books as even happening. Sometimes it won't even do that. So.
Yeah, especially when they want to keep an undefeated streak going.
Yeah.
But it kind of had to be this way. As it turns out, this had to be the opening match for various reasons.
Yep.
Let's get into the match. War Raiders looked undefeatable. They looked really intense. They looked like there was not much that could be done against them. But somehow O'Reilly seemed to look pretty good against them.
Oh yeah, O'Reilly had his strategy pretty much down, which is, when you have a team size of the War Raiders, you really can't exactly pull off much high-flying stuff. It's more ground and pound, submission, tag work, and just bending at the muscles. And
if you're Roderick Strong, you're definitely not getting a lot, if any, backbreakers in.
I was about to say, the Messiah of the backbreaker, you didn't really see a lot come out of him in this match, only because he has so many different backbreaker variations. But come on, he's pulling them off around guys on about his size, not double his weight.
Right. I mean, a 300 pound plus guy.
I was about to say, the War Raiders themselves, I think, are 525 pounds combined. So yeah, you weren't going to see many of Roderick Strong's elaborate list of ways of breaking your spine.
Yeah.
So
he basically was the guy on Undisputed Era that was taking the punishment.
It was a real weird thing about that. Like, he was kind of the weak link for the match, and I think he was like the most seasoned person in the match, which, like you said, like he was taking like mad damage in that match, but that's also because he's a ring general.
He sold very well through the whole match.
Excellent work.
To be honest, the first several minutes of this match, I had no notes. Like, it might have been a third of the match. I was taking no notes. Nothing was going on that was interesting enough to talk about.
Two college lines in my notebook here, because there was a very meat and potatoes, pretty much star of the match. You had some attempted tag work, or a lot of pretty much O'Reilly and Strong trying to pin one of the War Raiders in the corner and get as much damage done to them as possible. Pretty much tag team 101. And for that, the match to start out that way, it made a little bit of sense, but at the same time,
they weren't getting the damage that they were looking for because it's the War Raiders. It's two really big guys,
and the crowd wasn't really into it. I think they were about as shocked as we were at the fact that this match was starting out the show.
But then we saw the War Raiders get it a little bit of tag team offense that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
they went to do a battering ram throw to Roderick Strong, but they threw him in to O'Reilly.
Yeah.
The turnaround of the match was the chop block.
Oh yeah.
You've got Rowe on the outside. He's standing on the apron, and O'Reilly chop blocks him into the back of his left knee, and that is the point where the Undisputed Era can actually take Rowe to the mat, and they start working on his knee.
Once they're able to actually get him to the ground and were able to isolate him from getting the tag and just work on that leg over and over again, that's when you're like, okay, we have a little bit of a threat here, because up until that point, they were pretty much being used to beat each other with, because the War Raiders just had them flying all over the place.
Well, this took us into another couple minutes of really just unnotable match. I mean, they were just working on his leg. My problem with this is that it really didn't seem to pay off other than the hot tag right there.
Yeah.
Because he gets the hot tag to Hansen, but after that, I mean, he kind of shows a little bit that his leg's been worked on, but it's mostly just to sell you the idea that O'Reilly might get a tap-out victory.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really take away his power moves or anything like that. And they land quite a bunch of power moves. I mean, they're two big brutes. It
was pretty much like watching a heavier set version of the Road Warriors, pretty much like trying to lay waste to Strong and O'Reilly. And they picked up a lot of steam towards the end there.
Well,
and
I've seen some stuff in this match that I've never seen before. We saw Hansen in the corner, and I guess O'Reilly, I think, runs towards him, and he goes to do like a Hurricane Rana, like using the corner to lift his legs up, but instead he does a seated senton bomb, onto the guy. That was interesting. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
We saw Hansen with a single Bronco Buster, which was interesting for a guy his size. He's more the size guy that would do a stink face in the corner.
I was about to say it was very reminiscent of the Rikishi, pretty much like the Rikishi type drop thing, almost like Yokozuna's Banzai drop. Yeah, that's what it kind of reminded me of. But it was in a seated corner position, so it was kind of a weird angle and had a lot more snap to it than you would expect from a guy that size. But it landed. It looked like it hurt.
Well, I've got tons of notes of different moves, just stuff that I thought was interesting. But in to save some time, this match, as good as it was, it didn't end clean.
No.
And I guess you can expect that from the first match on the card being a title match. And we both predicted that going in.
The second we saw that match was first, we knew that like it was either going to be some form of interference, some sort of foul play, but the Undisputed Era was going to keep the belts, and we just didn't know how.
Well, I'm okay with this for one reason, because it told a story. Because even though it was the ending that we predicted, they still played with us a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they had Cole come out, and Adam Cole gets in the ring, and he goes to punch, I can't remember, one of the War Raiders.
Yeah.
And he catches his fist, and he actually overpowers Cole and throws Cole out of the ring, and the ref doesn't call the match. He doesn't call for a disqualification, because technically he didn't hit either one of the opponents.
Can we talk about Cole's man bun for a second?
He knocked the man bun off of him. He knocked him. Who was it?
Yeah,
Hanson.
It was Hanson.
Hanson catches the punch. Hanson knocks the man bun off of Adam Cole. Jeebus. And then we see an Olympic slam
from Roderick.
To Rowe.
Yeah.
And we thought that was going to be the end of the match. You know, not necessarily interference for a disqualification, but certainly near interference for a distraction and a victory. But no, he kicks out. And what we didn't see coming, and the finish was coming, we saw the War Raiders do, I don't know what the name of their finisher is, but it's where I think Rowe goes to do a backdrop onto one guy, and Hanson comes off the top rope with a leg drop across the neck.
Yeah.
And this was going to be the 1, 2, 3. They stack them up. I think Rowe goes for the pin, and Hanson puts his foot on. Like, they double stack for the pin, and this is it. But then Fish shows up. Bobby Fish comes out with a chair, and there's no bones about it. He's going for the disqualification. He takes the chair over their backs, and Bobby Fish is back.
Yeah.
Still wearing a brace on his leg, but maybe Stone Cold style. Just wear the brace into the ring, or Ciampa style.
Yep.
You just got the brace, but you can still go.
The pretty much is one thing we just didn't take into consideration.
Yeah, you weren't even thinking about it, because it's been so long
like,
since you've seen Bobby Fish outside of one of their promos in the back, where you've got Cole standing in the back. Used to have the NA title, but now doesn't.
Yeah.
But then you've got Strong and O'Reilly with the tag team belts, and then Fish is just standing there with the trophy from the Dusty Rhodes Classic.
Yep. Well, that was the thing. Like, when Adam Cole interfered, we automatically thought end of match. But the second the referee saw Hanson block the punch and just get Cole out of there, he's like, well,
yeah, keep the match going.
Keep the match
no
going.
Reason to
let's keep
cancel
going.
it yet. But yeah, that chair shot certainly did it.
But Bobby Fish coming in with the chair and more or less clearing the ring. The chair went bye. It bent.
Oh,
it bent.
That second or third chair shot. Oh. The chair that was the one where the chair just bent the top part on the back. And let me tell you, those chairs, they need to take somebody with some mechanical skill about them or something and turn the back of those chairs around. The ones that they intend to use, because the way they hit them, the seat of the chair is the good part that you want across your back because it's flat. It doesn't have the braces. But the back part of the chair is the part that sticks out in a curve, and definitely would be better if they could reverse that, I think. I mean, it wouldn't be good to sit on, but it would definitely be better for smacking across somebody's back. But this chair bent.
Yeah, I think that was the one on Hanson. I think that was the chair shot on him. Because
it sounded brutal. And I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out injured.
Yeah, because usually with a chair shot like that, they hit more Matt than anything else. Because
this wasn't Matt. The chair bent over his back, and the sound.
Kudos to the cameraman for catching this, because it hit Hanson's back.
Kudos to the sound guy, because they got that. It echoed through the crowd. So my question to you now is, and this is something we haven't talked about before we put this show on, so I'm putting you on the spot.
Thank you for that.
Freebird rules. Or is there going to be a little bit of dissension in the Undisputed Era, because technically Fish was the tag team partner that won the titles, even though Cole became one that defended him successfully, and then Roderick Strong. But are we talking Freebird rules now, where they're interchangeable, or are we going to see a problem with Fish coming back now that he's ready to go?
I think with this right now, I don't think Fish is still at 100%. He still showed a little bit of like hobbling with the knee brace, just a little bit, not enough to really, give us an idea of how well the knee's actually doing, but enough to the fact that he's probably not going to be up to par in the ring yet. So I'm thinking he's going to come out with the trophy, and Riley and Strong are still going to be the champions until he's completely healed up. After that, I can see them doing a Freebird rule if they keep the belts that long.
Yeah, it's not typical for that to happen.
No,
not in NXT.
Title reigns any longer aren't really that long.
Especially the tag titles.
I was about to say with the way they're getting called up now from NXT as well.
So my question is, do you think his next actual match will end up being War Games? Because now it looks like instead of 3 teams of 3, we're going to have at least 1 team of 4, if not 3 teams of 4. But somebody in our previous video's comments mentioned that they think it's going to be the Undisputed Era, all 4 of them, versus the War Raiders, Ricochet, and Pete Dunne.
Which could be perfect, because you have Ricochet and Pete Dunne, who have developed mutual respect and a hatred towards the
Undisputed Era.
Yeah, the Undisputed Era. I keep forgetting her name. I don't want to say the Attitude
It's because the logo keeps changing. It's hard to keep up with it.
Well, they're forever changing.
They're forever changing. They're always evolving. Somebody's getting injured. Somebody's coming back.
That's the other thing. I see them more like evolution than I do the 4 horsemen.
Well, now I see. To me, the potential problem with this is that their version of War Games last year is not the regular version of War Games necessarily. It's the same setup and whatnot. But are you going to make your second War Games be something that different from the original?
No, I think they're going to try and keep it more traditional than anything else, but at the same time, especially with the styles, because Ricochet, if he's actually incorporated into this, he's going to be just everywhere, and that's going to set up for a lot of fun spots, I think. And especially if the War Raiders are on the team with him, because they'll be chucking him like a lawn dart everywhere just to
Well, as fun as this match would be either way.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about the schematics of 3 versus 3 versus 3 versus 4 versus 4.
Yeah. I think with that dynamic, it's going to be different. But otherwise, I think it's going to be a great match regardless.
Well, to me, if you do that during the second War Games, you've essentially turned your idea of War Games from a specific kind of match to a specific kind of cage.
Yeah.
You turn it from the match that it was last year into just the idea that there is a cage around 2 rings next to each other to fit all of these people. And then it just goes from there. And then you end up with a fucking 4 versus 4 versus 4. Or you end up with 3 versus 3 versus 3 versus 3.
Yeah.
Or you end up with 5 on 5 in Survivor Series War Games. I mean, stick with an idea for a while, and then maybe on the 3rd or 4th or 5th one, if you've got, you want to do a 4 on 4.
Once the idea becomes stale, or it's you want to up the ante in some way, shape, or form. Right now, it's
it's in its infancy. You haven't even developed the idea fully, and now you're going to go and change the schematics of how many participants and how you bundle them up.
Yep.
I think it's a bad idea to go that route. I would rather see the Undisputed Era in 3 of the 4 of them versus 2 other teams of 3, like it was last year, where you have 2 members of the team inside shark cages up on the ramp, just the exact same schematics. Mm-hmm. If you want to change something, change it very minorly. Start the match with the weapons in the ring or some shit like that, instead of having somebody, take time before getting in the ring to pull out a bunch of weapons and throw them in. Change up something like that. Don't change up the original blueprint of the match. That's my opinion.
It's don't break something that's already.
It hasn't been around long enough to be considered broken, let alone to actually consider it broken. So, up next, we had actually a women's match, which surprised me. Which I guess it shouldn't surprise me. I just figured that there'd be 3 matches, maybe, because we've got a double main event. But no, there was 4. And so we had...
I initially just thought it was going to be the 2 matches with a whole bunch of promos and interviews and everything else sliced up in between. Almost kind of like what we had that last week. Because if you think about it, we just had those 2 matches.
Yeah, and Keith Lee versus Kona Reeves was not necessarily a long match.
No, it wasn't. And then we had the Triple Threat, and that took up the rest of the show. So,
but even that was just 20 minutes. So you really had less than 30 minutes probably of actual in-ring match. And everything else was promos.
You had promos and setups.
And video packages and interviews and all of the like. And all seemed different from each other. And they did a great job with that. But this NXT...
This was a match card.
What's NXT this week? 4 matches on the card. And still a bunch of promos and interviews and stuff going on. And we'll get to that. But up next was Britt Baker, who I don't know if we've seen in NXT before. But she looked good. But she was facing Shayna Baszler.
Oh, yeah.
Before I even made one note on this match, after I wrote down who was facing Shayna Baszler, I went ahead and underlined Shayna Baszler's name because I knew who was going to win.
Yes.
I did not, however, see the ending of this match the way it happened.
Yeah, so we have Britt Baker go in, smiling, teasing for the camera. And Baszler comes out looking straight up like Samoa Joe from Ring of Honor. Smirk, the red and the black, and what really sold it, the white towel across the back. She walked in there. She was focused. She was focused. She was ready.
She is selling to you that she has been to a different kind of fighting camp in preparation for Kairi Sane.
She was ready to just destroy this chick, and we were ready to watch it. As much as I said, nobody was rooting for Britt Baker.
And this was not your typical squash match, but they were rooting. I'll tell you what they were rooting for. They were rooting Shayna's gonna kill you.
Yep, they even had.
They picked up the Joe vibe.
Yeah, they picked up the Joe vibe very, very quickly, and she delivered with this. Like I won't say it was pretty much a squash.
Well, it looked like it was going to be a 5-minute squash, though.
Yeah.
Because she actually started manipulating the elbow and the left arm of Britt, but she was only just briefly setting up for that elbow stomp that she does, that she loves to use, and that was the match.
Yeah.
That was it. Because this Britt Baker is selling pain like nobody's business. Got to be double jointed. It looked like she popped her elbow out of joint.
Yeah.
And she was just red as a cherry.
Oh, yeah.
She was in pain. And the ref, the red-headed chick ref, she stopped the match.
Yeah.
She called for the bell. This match is over. Britt Baker cannot take any more. And we're done. But we weren't done. But
she calls for the medics to come out and everything.
Yeah.
And Shayna is still sitting over there smirking on the other side of the turnbuckle like, come on, really?
Yeah, come on. But she hasn't left. She hasn't put her arms up in victory or nothing like that. So you know this ain't the end.
Oh, the referee did raise her arm, but then she just kind of backed up and just was viewing the carnage that she had already
she's rubbernecking on her own carnage.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they got Britt Baker to her feet, all she needed was the right leg up, because we got to see out of Shayna Baszler what I hope is going to be her new finisher that's not the Baszler lock or whatever she calls it.
Yeah. This is actually a great striking finisher. It's just pretty much climbs it, goes up the knee and nails Baker right in the face with her knee.
It's kind of like a Shining Wizard.
It looked like a Shining Wizard.
She steps up off of Britt Baker's right knee and she catches her in the face with almost a Daniel Bryan or a V-trigger style knee to face.
Yes.
And just
knocked her
cold for she laid lifeless for 2 or 3 seconds before, she started that movement that lets you know she's fucking alive. But wow. Wow, that was I hope that is Shayna Baszler's new finisher, because that was brutal as fuck looking.
If not a finisher, that is a solid setup move for any submission.
Yeah.
Because you're not getting up from that. You're going to be 2 days, and by the time you wake up, your arm or leg or something is going to be in pain.
Look at all the best submission finishers, and even most of the best wrestlers with submission-based finishers.
Yeah.
At least have a move that they can use. Like the untalked about Chris Benoit had the diving headbutt.
Yeah.
You had Daniel Bryan eventually got the running knee.
Well, Daniel Bryan back... Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go with this. Daniel Bryan, back when he was Bryan Danielson on the ROH circuit and whatnot, he pretty much was set up cattle mutilation in his double chicken wing he used to do that was just evil looking. But he would just set up with just elbow strikes right here to do until... Sometimes they would just submit from that. And if they didn't, the referee would stop him from doing that, but then he'd like just roll over and flip into cattle mutilation, and that was the end of it right there. So a couple good strikes go a long way in setting up for a great submission move, and this just proved it. Even a chop block into a figure four.
Well,
like
as good as Baszler is with the Baszler lock, it is just another version of the coquina clutch or the rear naked choke or the whatever with a leg tie up.
Yeah.
But what do they call that?
Grapevine.
Yeah, grapevine. Yeah. Thank you. See, that's why he's here. He knows indie stuff. And give me fucking moves I can't remember the name of.
I know No Mercy 64.
Now, we thought we were getting a video package next, but it actually was just real brief about Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan, and it lets us know that this is our next match. We're going to have a tag match, another tag match. So 2 tag matches, 2 women's singles matches, and not yet, though. After the break, which I'm sure was a commercial for WWEshop.com, and then probably one of the women's breast cancer, everything's pink on the screen, awareness commercials, one of those commercials.
Yeah.
We come back to Regal in his office, and the cameraman, I guess, is the one asking questions.
Yep.
They don't have an interviewer, just a cameraman like, hey, Regal, what's up with Nikki Cross? And she keeps telling you that she knows. And Regal's like...
It's like he says he's gonna have a talk. Like he looks really antsy.
Yeah,
and he's saying that Aleister Black is gonna be back soon.
So
and he needs to get answers. So he's gonna approach Nikki Cross after her match with Bianca.
Now you say antsy, and that's a good word for it. I'm trying to think of. He looks unnerved, man.
Yes.
Now there's 2 ways to look at it. He's unnerved because Aleister Black's coming back soon, as he says. And he needs answers because he needs to be able to tell Aleister Black what happened. Or, as if you guys have been watching us for the past 3 episodes, somewhere in there, my dude figured out that he thinks that William Regal is the one that somehow either did it or orchestrated Aleister Black's attack.
Yep.
And I think he's right. I agree with him, and maybe you guys do too. But this certainly to me looks like he could be antsy about the possibility that Aleister Black's coming back and Nikki Cross is going to tell him that it was William Regal that fucking took him out.
And as always, if you want to comment on who do you think actually is responsible for it, or tell me I'm wrong, whatever.
Now the big possible hole in all this is why is William Regal putting all this effort into his investigation to find out who attacked Aleister Black if he already knows who it was because it was him?
Yeah.
Well, because he wants to make sure that nobody saw him do it.
Yes.
That's why he did the investigation, and he comes to find out Nikki Cross knew, and she told him she knew, but she wouldn't tell him in front of the camera who it was because it was fucking him. Yep. That's why. I think you're brilliant. I think you figured this shit out way earlier than they intended on anybody to figure this out.
That's the thing. I think it's the whole, put the eyes on everybody else.
Especially Ciampa. Because everybody's going to say it was Ciampa. I didn't see it, but let me tell you who I think did it. Duh, Ciampa. He won the title after that shit.
Yeah. But
no, he had the title.
The only motivation I can really see behind it is the fact that he feels that Alistair was not an appropriate champion for NXT, or that he just wasn't ready to do it. That's the only other thing I can think of for motivation at this point. If there's any other kind of motive, I'm not really sure. All I know is Regal is guilty as hell. But enough for right now.
Well, as good as this has been so far, I'm really hoping that they do have a clear motive for William Regal and that it makes fucking sense.
Oh, yeah.
But the basis of this backstage interview or whatever with William Regal was to set up that after the main event, he's going to confront Nikki Cross because she keeps telling people that she knows who did it, and he wants to know what she knows.
Nikki knows a secret.
Yeah, the crowd knows because they know Nikki knows a secret, and they're not afraid to tell you.
Yep.
So next we have, of course, the tag match we were promised to be next, but then suddenly William Regal, and we're all like, "Oh, you bastard! We know you did it."
Yeah.
We had
Tien
Bing, and Rocky. Now, I guess these are two the first Chinese wrestlers signed to NXT.
Yeah.
And they are going to job out to Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan. And again, I underlined them before I even took any notes. Because I felt like, yeah, this is going to be kind of a squash match.
Well,
this is enhancement talent. They're brand new. Let's see how they handle defeat.
They had some credibility, like, right at the beginning of the match. Granted, the other guy, Rocky, they said was some sort of, like, not really a movie star, but some sort of movie actor.
Yeah, and a famous actor or some
sort. But Tien Bing had been, 3 years.
3 years.
At the Inoki Dojo under Antonio Inoki. That's huge.
Well, to a guy like you, that's huge. But to a guy like me, that is... My history with wrestling is WCW and WWE, ECW. Well, I have no idea, but...
Well, here's the thing. One of the biggest matches back in the 80s was actually Hulk Hogan versus Inoki. Like, this is back when, the world title would actually get defended in different promotions.
Oh, wow.
Even. It was... And he actually went overseas for this match, and... Yeah, it was a really big deal. Inoki with this huge jaw, and you had Hulk Hogan, who, like, Hulkamania was just really starting to build.
Well, we went into this match with the idea that somehow this was going to steal the show.
Yeah, it
just
had that vibe to it. You see two international wrestlers, and then you have Birch and Lorcan, who are coming back strong, and it looked like it was going to be a drawn-out match. He even had that humble beginnings of a catch-as-can style match. But even
showing respect, backing out of the corner and not going for any funny business.
Yeah.
Respect between the two teams. But let me tell you, this match did not live up to match of the night. It was barely a match. It wasn't long. I have 2 notes for the entire match, other than Antonio Inoki training Bing for 3 years. There was a spot where Birch does that wicked headbutt he does to Bing, catching him kind of in the shoulder, but somewhere that makes a wicked slap. He catches Bing with a headbutt. Bing drops like a tree would fall, and he hits a headbutt onto Rocky, who's laying on the mat already. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
Like, in my head, I just had that bad dad joke thing, because, the second, he hits him with a headbutt, I was like, bing!
Well, yeah, how do you drop a guy named Bing with a double headbutt? And I feel like, I don't think that was planned. I think that just happened. It happened to be a really, really fun...
It was a good spot.
Yeah. And then the end of the match was a tandem draping DDT onto Rocky for the pinfall. One of the guys, Oney Lorcan or Danny Burch, holds up the other guy kind of like a wheelbarrow, and the other one DDTs him.
Yeah. Not a flashy finisher,
but I knew it was over at that point. It was devastating enough.
It was done Rocky. Match was over. They did their little salute to the crowd, and that was it. That was the end of the match.
It was okay.
It was.
It did what it was supposed to do. It made Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch look good.
Yeah, it's like wow, they beat up 2 international superstars.
It kind of reminds me of the match from a couple of weeks ago with the Forgotten Sons versus those 3 jobbers.
Yes,
It did what it was supposed to do.
I've always said that, like that. You don't really see many matches like that anymore, where you get like the enhancement talent that comes out first. That they're usually the hometown hero or something. Like, yeah, all right.
So basically, we had 2 main events, a double main event with 2 squash matches, one for the male brand, I guess.
Yeah.
The tag team of Orkin and Birch. And then you had the one to showcase Shayna Baszler.
Yeah.
But before we get to the main event of the show, we had a little graphic for next week. We're going to see William Regal make an announcement about the NXT Championship, and I guess its defense at TakeOver War Games 2.
Yeah. We've had so many talks about what's going to happen with the actual War Games match that I just now started getting around to asking you, what are they going to do about this World Championship? Is it going to be, are they going to bring back Aleister Black and he's going to get the first shot?
Well, he says he's coming back soon.
Yeah, or is there going to be some sort of like tournament or maybe a one-night triple threat type thing? What's going to happen with it?
So immediately I paused the show because it aired at 8. We're watching it at 12 at midnight on the night of, so technically the next morning.
Yeah.
I pause it there and I'm like, okay, so what do we think? What is this forecasting? My prediction is just Aleister Black is back, and be it next week or the week after, he's going to come in and he's going to win his title rematch. Mm-hmm. And so that's what the announcement's going to be, or start off as, maybe. So my thing is, I'm thinking Regal's going to come out. He's going to go to make the announcement. Ciampa's going to come out. He's going to interrupt first. Ciampa wants to know who he's going to have to face at War Games. Maybe he's going to do one of those typical Ciampa, I'm better than everybody, it doesn't matter, or I'm so good I shouldn't even have to defend, some shit like that.
A lot of talking to the belt.
But then we'll see Aleister Black come back.
Yeah.
Because he said he's going to be back soon, so he'll come back next week. He thinks it's going to be Velveteen Dream.
I think Velveteen Dream is going to be thrown into the mix in some way, shape, or form.
I don't want to see this.
Because, I'm aware of that.
Yes.
You made that abundantly clear. But there's too much heat going on between him and Ciampa to really be ignored. I think that during that whole spiel that you were talking about, with Ciampa demanding to know who his opponent's going to be, that Regal will probably no doubt say Aleister Black, but at the same time, I think Velveteen Dream will come out there and try to interject himself in the match in some way, shape, or form. Whether it be Regal set up another match for Velveteen Dream to qualify to make it a triple threat match.
Or just making a triple threat match.
Or just making a triple threat match in general.
Now,
but
see, I think
that seems against his MO, is the thing. I think they're just booking in general. Is the fact that they always find a way of making the person earn that spot. Whether it be a battle royal or some sort of like short one-night tournament, like one of those beat the clock type challenges.
Well, now if you're Regal, though, it makes perfect sense, because if it becomes a triple threat match at TakeOver War Games, then it also becomes a no disqualification match.
Yes.
And so if Regal is the person that took out Aleister Black, then obviously he doesn't want Aleister Black to be champion, and he can do whatever he wants because it's a no disqualification match. He can come out with the nooks that have been properly displayed on his desk through all of his interrogation into the matter of Aleister Black and his attacker. He can come out with those nooks and just hit Aleister Black in the face. Ref can see it. Can't do nothing about it. It's no disqualification. So this plays right up into his alley.
Or if he actually is involved with Ciampa in some way, shape, or form with it, throws him the knucks and lets him do the dirty work.
Well, whatever.
And then the knucks get passed down to Ciampa, but at the same time, I think Regal will do the dirty work himself, because Ciampa's the type that, he talks some bad shit, but at the same time, in the long run, if he can win the match just on his own merit and shit, that's what he'll do. He he won't resort to Nux or anything else.
I don't want to see Velveteen Dream getting sucked into this storyline. Because this is a long-going, several months, if not 4 or 5 months. It's been a while for this storyline. And Velveteen Dream, I think, needs his own main event or upper mid-card storyline and get away from being sucked into this and making it a triple threat match.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. But it makes sense, though, because it would make it a no disqualification match, and it would set up for Regal to do something.
And that's the other thing, though, that will have a definitive finish. That's what I like about triple threat matches is there's going to be a pinfall, there's going to be a submission, something's going to happen in that match to end it. Yeah. Versus any kind of disqualification. If there's foul play, it doesn't matter as long as there's a finish to the match.
That's why the triple threat last week was so brilliant, I guess, for what it was, because we didn't see any interference from the Undisputed Era, and then likely the War Raiders might have come out after them, that kind of thing. There was none of that. Nobody tried to use a chair. Yeah. Like, it was a straight up triple threat match without anybody taking advantage of the no DQ. But with Aleister Black versus Velveteen Dream versus Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT title, you can't say the same thing.
Yeah.
So we are finally to the main event.
Yes.
The final match of the card. And good match. I enjoyed this match.
Good isn't even the word to describe it. It was solid. Like, straight from, like, the entrance from Nikki Cross. I'm going to say this right now. I love Nikki Cross. I love her character.
I thought you were about to say you love her entrance. I thought you were about to purposely get under my skin for no reason.
Oh no! I love the entrance.
Oh, come on! She's not with Sanity anymore.
It doesn't matter. It
does fucking matter. She's her own person now. She deserves an entrance music. Remix this thing. Don't just add the women screaming, or I guess she probably had that as like her own. But that's not enough. Sanity is on SmackDown. They still have that music. And she's her own person now. Give her some crazy different music.
Well, I'm
crazy music.
I'm not even talking about the music. I'm just talking about her mannerism and stuff at the top.
That's great, but fuck off. Because
she got bandana she pulls down from her face. She's screaming. She goes into the ring. She's like just bouncing off the ropes and just.
All of that is great, but in the back of my mind, I'm still hearing Sanity's entrance.
Yeah.
Now, granted, she's getting all of her cues for all the stuff that she does physically. You know, as part of her entrance, bouncing off the ropes and whatnot, from the screams that come in the music, but put those screams in some other music. That's Sanity's music. Sanity's gone. She's not, she's still insane, but fuck.
I think what it's going to take is her either being in a high profile feud with the women's champion at that point, or it'll take her doing a full on, face turn, become more popular to the point where she gets new music. But for right now, that stuff works. Me, I'm a new fan, so I'm not really used to. I wasn't around for when Sandy was down there, but at the same time, I know of the team. I know of Eric Young. Eric Young is just fantastic. But at the same time, yeah, I like everything about the entrance.
Now, what's ironic to me is a gal named Nikki Cross does an awful lot of cross bodies.
Yes, she does an insane amount of cross bodies.
She starts this match with a cross body takedown. It's like Nikki Cross's version of the Stone Cold's Lou Thesz press into a bunch of punches. Only she cross bodies Bianca Belair into a bunch of punches. And they just go at each other. And, dude, when she does this... He noticed this before I did.
It's like a pinata.
God, like a cloud of glitter, man. Because Bianca Belair is covered in sparkles. She's got a neck choker that's like fake diamonds or some shit, and it sparkles. And her whole outfit fucking has got glitter all over it, and it goes everywhere in that initial
the initial attack alone, pretty much it was like Nikki Cross, like, charged and smashed into a unicorn.
Yeah. Or a glitter bomb.
Just a glitter bomb. And spread that craft herpes all over the ring. And I'm thinking that's why this match was saved for the end, because you didn't want the War Raiders and Roderick Strong and like Kyle O'Reilly getting covered in glitter the entire match.
Yeah, that would be fun. I wonder if they realized that going in, because you got to think the next time she wrestles, she's not going to have so much glitter on her costume. Or maybe it's going to go through a few washes and get rid of all the excess glitter. It's pretty bad.
Seriously, it looked like the end of a Mankind match with a whole bunch of thumbtacks everywhere.
They were both covered, just sparkling away. But, I mean, the story of this match is that their styles are just so different, and Nikki Cross is just crazy.
Yeah.
So she goes after Bianca Belair, and Bianca doesn't really, until she gets pissed off, she doesn't really know how to counter that kind of attack. Because they just start beating on each other, roll out of the ring. But that's where Nikki Cross starts to take the match by pushing Bianca into the steps.
Yeah. It's one of these things where Bianca is more technically, I'm not going to say technically sound. Like, Nikki Cross is...
She's technically focused. She's a student of a specific game.
Yeah.
Not the crazy game, just a specific,
Nikki Cross is what we like to call in the wrestling community unorthodox. She doesn't really have much of a style.
She's a brawler, man.
Yeah, she's a brawler and a half. If she has to pull off any kind of scientific moves or anything, she will. But if it means just going for a W, she will pound you into submission using her body, anything else around her. But yeah, she's a wacky one. She's a wacky doodle.
Well, this basically goes back and forth a little bit, just so that each wrestler could show off her skills and look good. And we had Belair with the first impressive, because Nikki Cross took the match ahead with the steps. But then they get in the ring.
She did like a berserker type flail and got control of the match that way. Completely caught Belair off guard, who probably walked into the match thinking, "Here's how things are going to go." And you can't walk into a match like that with Nikki Cross, because Nikki Cross has her own way of thinking.
She'll roll you out of the ring and push you into the steps.
Yeah.
But then they get back in the ring, and this is where Belair can shine, and we see a fall-away slam.
And shimmer.
It is a JBL worthy fall-away slam, and let me say Bradshaw, fucking Bradshaw worthy.
She had the machismo of Razor Ramon with that one. She just walked with Nikki for a few seconds and just flung her back.
And then she hits a standing moonsault. She jumps off of or flips off of Nikki Cross's back, but then into a standing moonsault onto Nikki Cross's back. And then she goes for a moonsault off the top rope. And now you can tell she's fairly new. She's telling that story because she's kind of looking back and she's making sure she's positioned right. Like, she's not just going for it. She's focused on doing it right because she's new. And she's still learning, I guess. Yeah. But she still wants to be perfect. And she pays because Nikki Cross knocks her off, puts her in the tree of rope, and just she stomps a mud hole in Bianca Belair. The ref has to pull her off 3 times, I think, before a 5 count. Well, she actually kind of comes off. She's saner than she looks because the ref makes it to 4 and then she backs off to keep from getting disqualified.
She wants the fun to continue, as much like she was saying in the promos and everything prior to this match, like the weeks building up to it. She wanted to have fun in this match. She wanted to have more fun with Bianca Belair.
But again, stomping a mud hole. She is a brawler that can go upstairs. Yeah. Because again, Nikki Cross with a cross body off the top.
Yep.
For a near fall, I think.
Yeah, it was a near fall. And we didn't see the match ending there naturally.
No, it looked like a good spot, but it wasn't going to end. And then Bianca took it back. I mean, this match goes back and forth, and each competitor looks good when they are dominating the match. We saw Belair with just a brutal forearm.
Oh, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Before Tree of Woe, we had that double chicken wing from Bianca Belair as well, just picking Nikki Cross straight up, just showing her strength and her upper body.
To be honest, I was underwhelmed. I thought she was going to go for like a power move.
I thought she was going to go
like
for
maybe a front slam,
like Awesome Kong's old Buster that she used to do. Yeah, I was expecting that too, but
or
like
the Glamazon, she used to do something similar to that, didn't she?
Yes,
Phoenix.
But that actually impressed me because like any kind of like feat of athleticism like that is actually pretty cool in my book.
Yeah, the strength aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was back. So where were we? Oh, the forearm.
Yeah.
So this is where she takes back the match. This forearm looked brutal, but it kind of laid them both out for a little bit. But as soon as they get up, we get Bianca Belair with the wicked spear.
Yeah.
It goes for not one, not two, but three near falls, stacking her up. Stacking up Nikki Cross.
Mm-hmm. Gut wrench, picks her up, deadlift, and like one of those Batista bombs or Belair bombs.
Yeah, and this is where I thought the match was over.
Yeah. I actually thought so too. I thought that was going to be the end of the match. I honestly thought that was
Yeah, I've got an exclamation point next to where I noted kick out. I could not fucking believe that Nikki Cross kicked out of that, but because it's not that it was necessarily a finishing looking move. It just looked that devastating, and she got a picture perfect. You know how after out of a power bomb they'll sit into the pin and cover both the arms with both their legs. It was picture perfect. Like, how did Nikki Cross kick out of that, let alone have the strength to do it?
Bianca even has the what the fuck look on her face. Like, what the hell does she have to do to keep Nikki Cross down?
Yeah, she pushes her into the corner, and she just keeps slapping her in the face and telling her, stay down.
Yes. And at that point, I see almost like shades of what I like to say was like Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar. Like, Nikki Cross is just looking at Belair and smiling and almost laughing at her. It's like, give me more. Bring it on. Give me whatever you got. And keep on
she goes for it. I think she goes to go to the top rope.
Yeah.
But then Belair gets her in a military press, a gorilla, above her head, and just squats with her.
Yeah.
Above her head.
She might as well have said undefeated when she was doing it.
But this goes right into the story.
Yeah.
Because she's showing off. And because she showed off, Nikki Cross gets out of the military. There's no payoff to this. She gets out of the military press, and she gets a scorpion death. It was kind of an awkward setup into it, but she gets a scorpion death drop on Bianca Belair for a pinfall. Or no, not a pinfall, a near fall. I'm sorry.
Yep. Bianca kicked out of that one too.
So she decides to go up to the top rope.
And at that point, even Nikki Cross even looked like she was at a loss. It's like, okay, I pulled off all this crazy shit at this point. What do I have to do to keep Bianca Belair down to end this?
So this is where this story gets kind of cliche. She goes to the well one too often.
Yes.
Nikki Cross, a brawler, goes to the top rope again, and when she comes off, he mentioned during Bianca Belair's entrance how he liked the sound of the whip that they have near the beginning of the music because of her whip-looking hair. And I'm not a fan of the hair because I saw a video of her when she was trying out for, was it Tough Enough?
Yeah.
Something. And she didn't have that much hair. So obviously she didn't grow that much hair in that short amount of time. And so then it technically is a foreign object. Like, they let it in the match and they let her use it because it's her hair and it's a part of her and whatever. But it's a foreign object because she just weaves it into her hair. And she used it. And you heard that fucking whip.
Yep. She used it almost like it was a bull rope match. Like one of those old style bull rope matches.
Strap. Like a strap match. Fuck.
But before that, though, before she get put her in the gorilla press thing, like, she actually put her hair up into the bun.
But it's she did one of those twist ups where you like twist the end of it into it, but it's not necessarily going to stay, and it didn't stay.
No,
I mean it didn't stay, especially after that scorpion death drop.
And she went right for the gut on Nikki Cross with the whip of the hair, and
it sounded brutal, but for a minute I thought she was going to go for a pin, and I'm like, don't go for a pin. do not go for a pin after that. That's the weakest. I mean, it sounded good, but that is the weakest move to go for a pin after.
Yeah.
But she doesn't. She goes to the top rope, and now that's her making a rookie mistake right after Nikki Cross did. She goes to the well one too many times, and Nikki Cross follows her up.
Yeah, and delivers what is called a superplex.
An underwhelming superplex. It's a middle rope superplex.
Yeah,
so maybe it's just a corner suplex.
Middle rope superplex. MRS. Miss.
And so this is, I suppose, you're watching a Randy Orton match. He gets a top rope superplex. This is where both competitors are down. Probably going to be down for just a minute to catch their breath. But that's not what happens.
No.
This is the end of the match. Essentially.
Yeah.
And the lights go out.
Yes.
Well, can we say the lights go black?
Yes, it was a complete blackout.
Now, what I had said earlier about Rowan and Hanson, the War Raiders music, about, just not being, hearing it enough to necessarily distinguish whose music it is at the beginning of it. Well, here's another case. And this one worked out because I was genuinely surprised. But at some point after like 5 or 6 seconds, I'm like, that's Aleister Black's music, man.
I was like, the place went black, and he's like, what's going on? And we're like, Aleister Black. And like the music hadn't even started up yet. He's like,
it was.
He hears the music. He's like, I don't know this music. Dude, that's Aleister Black.
Yeah, right? Like, so, it doesn't actually get into the music. It's more like the pre-music, whatever that means. It's kind of like where The Rock says, if you smell, or do you smell what The Rock is cooking? That happens.
Yeah,
so, that kind of thing. He's sitting in the ring when the lights come out.
Yeah.
In his cross-legged pose.
And
he's staring at who?
Staring at Nikki Cross.
Nikki Cross, yeah.
Because
she knows.
Because Aleister Black seemingly did the Thanos snap.
Yeah. Lights back on, here I am. You said you know, and the crowd knows that she said she knows, because the crowd starts up with Nikki knows a secret. Because they know why he's here. We know why he's here.
And then starts the most tense stare down I've seen in quite some time. Because Aleister's just sitting there, and Bianca Nikki.
Yeah, Bianca disappeared.
Yeah.
After the lights came back on, Bianca was gone. Like, she just glitter bombed and just, she went everywhere in a billion pieces of glitter. Like, Thanos snapped his finger, and she was just gone in a cloud of glitter. She was gone. It was just Aleister Black and Nikki Cross. And Nikki Cross looked like Aleister Black had her tranced. Like, he's got her mesmerized. And he just kind of...
Initially, she was just, still doing her smiling and laughing. But then Aleister's just staring at her, and you can see his smile kind of fading away. And he just motions for her. Come here.
Yeah. Come here. And she crawls to him in the slowest fashion possible. I guess they had time to fill. But they drew it out, and it was good.
The moment, the whole, it was just tense. It was like one of those moments that I know they're going to be replaying.
Is she going to tell him?
Yeah.
Is she going to tell us? Are we all going to find out tonight?
And you have the crowd even going, shh, shh, shh.
There is no amount of quiet in that arena that was going to allow them to hear what she... I don't even know if she actually said anything, but she goes into Aleister Black, and somebody whistles or something to the crowd. Kind of looks like they're going in for a kiss, but he leans to the side. She goes for his ear, and in the crook of his neck, where nobody can see, she whispers something to Aleister Black, and his face changes.
Yes. Complete anger, that look of betrayal.
This goes way beyond what you said last week, that Popeyes stopped serving mac and cheese look.
Yes.
He was... At first I wrote shaking, but then I changed that. He was quaking with anger.
He was fuming.
He was pissed the fuck off. And he didn't have to say anything, just a look. And it's like, I told him, I looked... The shit's going off the air, and I look at him, I'm like, I told you Ciampa didn't do it.
Nikki is sliding back out of the ring, almost slithering. And still not breaking her stare from Aleister.
Yeah, don't look away, because you just brought the bad news, whatever the fuck it was. He is mad. And there's no way that he would be that mad if it was Ciampa, because he wouldn't be shocked the fuck at all if it was Ciampa.
That would have been duh. This is the look of a guy who'd been betrayed. This is a guy that either Aleister really trusted, or just knows extremely well,
or took advantage of his position on the roster. And this is why I'm telling you, man, you've got to be right. It's got to be Regal.
Yeah, it's got to be Regal.
Because Aleister Black doesn't have any friends.
No.
He doesn't have anybody that can betray him. The only person that could possibly do him wrong that he could look at and say, like, you have no business in this, is like fucking Regal. Because Regal's supposed to be the general manager. He's supposed to make the matches, not get involved in what's going on.
I was about to say, it was either going to be Regal or Riddle. Because, Riddle's being mentioned a lot.
Yeah, and he hasn't been back, but they're building him for a feud with Cassius Ohno.
Cassius Ohno, yeah.
So I don't see that happening necessarily.
But I thought that was being incorporated as well, since Nikki Cross had approached Cassius Ohno this last week as well. So that's the only reason why I was thinking Riddle may be involved in some way, shape, or form.
That would be interesting to see it happen, but like I said, I don't want anything else getting sucked up into this storyline. I want it just to be Ciampa and Aleister Black for the title, and then wherever Regal fits in.
Yeah,
that's good with me as long as they tell the story right. But this was a great episode, despite what we thought going in.
Yeah,
and I think this ending was perfect.
The thing is with that's the other thing we also brought up. There is a different finish to every match. We had the first match, which was the disqualification because of Fish's involvement with the steel chair. We had a stoppage of the match with Baszler knocking the living crap out of Baker.
Well, dislocating her arm.
Dislocating her arm and then knocking the crap out of her. Then you had your pinfall with the other tag match. And then you had no contest at the end with this one because there was no ref stoppage. There was nothing.
Yeah, there was nothing. There was just the lights went out. They came back on. There's Aleister Black, and everybody else is just like, you know what? Yeah, I'm out of here. Even the ref was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back to the back and enjoy me some craft catering.
What's that, Mom? Coming.
Yeah.
Boom.
Gone. Because Aleister Black has business with one person in that ring, and that was Nikki Cross. And apparently she told him something he did not want to hear.
Yep.
So, yeah, I guess it makes sense if Regal wants to make it a triple threat match.
Yep.
He has business doing so. So, we are down to the last bit of the show, where normally the general here in his General's 5 stars would rate the main event, which was Nikki Cross versus Bianca Belair. Mm-hmm. But since this was a double main event and it was billed as such, and the initial match of the show, the first match was the tag team championship match, we're going to go ahead and do both.
Yeah.
So, let's just go in order. Let's go with the tag match first.
The tag match, I'm going to say this right now, for all the build-up and everything it had, was kind of underwhelming for me.
Took the word out of my mouth.
It was, for all the video packages that we got, we didn't really see anything special going on with this match. Yeah, Fish popping up at the end, that was to be expected. Or not really to be expected, but
the disqualification was to be expected.
Yeah, some form of foul play was going to happen, and they were going to keep the belts. We knew that the second the match even started.
Yeah.
The Undisputed Era were keeping the belts because they were the first match on the card. You can't have a title change like that at the beginning of a show like that, because that would have taken away from everything else that happened the rest of that evening and the climax of the evening.
Yeah, because everybody, especially if if the titles had changed hands. The crowd would have gone nuts, probably.
But yeah, that would have completely blown the load for the rest of
I'll tell you what my problem with this match for me was.
Yeah.
It looked like a jobber match. It looked like enhancement talent designed match where the only person in the Undisputed Era that really looked good offensively was Kyle O'Reilly.
Yeah.
And most of that was because of the initial chop block on the apron on the outside that allowed him to work over, I think, Hanson's knee.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it looked like a squash match that Hanson and Rowe were designed to come out and just look way better. And in this case, against the tag team champions...
It was Rowe's knee, because Hanson got tagged in later.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I confused them again.
Well, I always think Hanson starts with H, hair starts with H, and that's it. That's how I remember.
His beard is way more impressive than if you ever saw my beard in one of my videos where it's not twisted up. His beard is way more impressive than mine. I tip my hat to you, sir. So my problem with this match is that it looked like that the tag team champions were enhancement talent.
Yeah.
That should not be the case. We didn't see the kind of match that we would normally see out of the Undisputed Era. In a tag team match against Mustache Mountain, in a tag team match against Lorcan and Birch, they would look phenomenal.
Yeah, because you think about it, those teams are more their size and more their speed and more their style. Whereas you have the War Raiders are more Smash Mouth style, whereas O'Reilly and Strong are more mat based, more.
It's not the story for that match.
No,
an enhancement talent story, a jobber match story is not the story for that match, and I feel like that's kind of what we got, and that's why it had to be a fucky finish. That's why it had to be a disqualification. But we saw the return of Bobby Fish, so I mean, as part of the story, it was still kind of good. I think I'll increase. But I'm going with 3 stars tops.
That's about generous. Like I was at that point too, because up until maybe the chop block, I couldn't get into the match.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe it was just the fact that I was so surprised that it was starting off the show, or maybe the fact that it was already so underwhelming when it first started getting underway. But I won't say I felt ripped off, but at the same time...
We've been waiting for 2 or 3 weeks for this match to main event the show and to actually see a real tag team awesome title. And it was not that.
The promos and the video packages made it look so much more epic and so much more important.
Well, if you're a War Raiders fan, it was epic. It was a great match. It showcased them beautifully, but it to me, it kind of felt like it devalued the titles because it made the title holders look like chumps.
Yeah. A lot. They do those kind of matches a lot. They'll actually have the tag championships or Intercontinental, whatever, the mid-card belts or whatnot as the opener for the show. But at the same time, at the end of the show, you usually have some sort of big payoff. So that's what.
Well, we got that.
Yeah. So that's automatically was my train of thought. I'm like, okay, if this is going on right now, this match won't exactly be lackluster. But something a lot more special is supposed to be happening towards the end there. So, yeah, I give it 3 just for the fact that there's a lot of really cool little innovative tag team maneuvers.
That's true.
Pretty much
I did see some moves that I've never seen before.
Picking up one motherfucker, hitting him with another motherfucker. That was a lot of the that was a lot of the strategy going on in that match. But at the same time, I didn't really see anything that I hadn't seen, offshoot before. And that's what's separated me from the rest of the matches that I've seen so far doing these videos with you, is the fact that each match had like 2 or 3 spots in it that I was like, that's a little different.
Right.
But like this one,
it was more tag team moves.
Yeah.
That's just moves from the War Raiders that looked like, okay, I haven't seen that before. There was maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.
But those happened in such a flurry that's like
it makes the rest of the rest of the match prior to that seem forgettable, which it was until the chop block on the apron. The match was forgettable. I was going to take it down to 2 3/4, but Yeah, I'll stay at 3. 3 stars.
Three's moderate, and that's about what we got there as a moderate match.
But now the main event, and I'm going to include with the match also the follow-up, because that's all in the main event. That's all in the final act of the show. So for this one, I expect more than 3 stars. But what did you think about it overall?
Overall, I love the styles that were showcased. I love the fact that you had 2 equally talented women in their own rights, like Nikki Cross with all of her craziness, her high flying, her brawling, her just absorption of pain, more or less. And then you had Bianca actually. Bianca impressed me. Like, I really hadn't gotten to see her do a lot, but she, like, her strength was amazing. The fact that she actually stayed so focused during the match, the hair thing with the whip, yeah, that was just more or less, I think, more for heel heat than anything else.
Yeah, probably.
And just to give that sense of, like, okay, this is how this match is going to end. Because that looked like, you know, a heel finish. It was going to be that signature move, and then boom.
And then go up to the top rope and do something crazy, and then boom, you got your pin.
Yeah. And that was going to be the end of the match. Crowd was going to boo. She was going to do her undefeated chant a lot, and that was going to be the end of it. But it didn't happen that way. They set up for something even bigger and even more monumental that no one was really expecting.
And it wasn't one of those screwy finishes where you feel like you were cheated.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a disqualification where, God forbid, they brawl out into the crowd again and it's the exact same finish as the first match. God forbid that happen again. But this finish, it was just kind of like a pause button on the match.
Yeah.
And this match is going to happen again.
Yes.
Hopefully at Evolution would be awesome.
Yeah.
Even if it's the Evolution pre-show, I don't care. I want to see this match at Evolution. But if we have to wait till TakeOver War Games, I'm game to see a third match.
They're going to build it as, like, you know, the final encounter kind of thing too. I think because they're going to consider it almost like the rubber match, because both of these matches have ended in no contest for these two.
And this ending was great, and I like this ending. But what I loved about this match was everything you said, but the way they weaved it into a story in the match. They weaved it in to the story of the match, because you had, like I said, you had Nikki Cross's brawler style. You know, she gets the match initially, pushing her into the steps. But then they get into the ring, and then you see Bianca Belair's in-ring style, her student of the game. And then she takes over. But then you see Nikki Cross show her up because, you know, she gets cocky. Or you see Nikki Cross go one too many times to the top rope and she pays. But Bianca Belair is still so new, she doesn't learn, and she does the same.
Just you see her actually learning through the entire match.
And that sets up for, you guessed it, a third match.
Yes.
So it's like, the ending was just putting a pause on this, and we'll see the rest of it later. We don't have to have a definitive finish. We don't have to have a screw job finish or one that insults the fans in any way. We get something that's super interesting that we're like, okay, pause that match. I want to see fucking what Aleister Black has to say to Nikki Cross.
I'm going to call it right now. Now we've actually made the Thanos, you know, comments about that stuff. It was a very Marvel finish, because you had what's going to lead into, like, the next movie or the next match, but then you had that mid-credit scene.
Let me tell you,
that's what that blackout was. The place went black.
It's a cliffhanger.
Yes.
If you want to talk about cliffhangers, as pissed off as Aleister Black looked, do you honestly think that we're going to go one more week of NXT television without him saying something?
Oh, no. He's going to... Next week, when Regal makes that announcement for who Ciampa's going to be facing, that's going to be made even more epic. I can't wait for it.
That is a cliffhanger. That's probably the best cliffhanger I've seen on an NXT episode since you and I have started doing this.
That's the only graphic that popped up for the entire evening. The fact that there's going to be that announcement for the NXT match. They didn't announce any other matches for the
next week? No. In fact, we thought Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch's tag match, that video package. At first, we thought that was being announced for next week, but then they're like, no, next, and we're like, okay, whatever. But normally, normally you're right. Yeah. NXT would have graphics up and tell you. Like I think last week we had both the two dual main events advertised for next week. We don't even get a match advertised for next week. All we get is the announcement or the planned announcement by William Regal.
Which also should have raised our suspicions a little bit is the fact that we haven't heard anything about what else has happened next week. So now we have Aleister Black back and
he's mad.
And he knows.
And that was a good selling of being absolutely fucking furious. So from the Nikki Cross's I guess Bianca Belair entered first. From Bianca Belair's glittery ass entrance all the way to the last shot of a very, very angry Aleister Black. In the General's 5 stars, where does this match land?
Okay, it's about as perfect as a women's match as you're really gonna get. It was very scientific, but at the same time, it was vicious. There was a lot of high impact maneuvers. There were very few mistakes made in this match. It was very well executed. It was almost seamless, but I'm gonna still give it 4 because there's always gonna be something that kind of tops it. Maybe 4.5 because of the surprise finish at the end there, but execution wise, just on the ladies' parts and everything, solid 4-star match. Way better than anything else we had seen on the card earlier that day.
Now let me tell you. Okay, so for me, this match, entertainment wise, was on a steady middle level road through most of it. I mean, there were some spots that got me going. But like you said, it was a very solid, seamless match. It was done very well. It told a great story, which to me, that brings it up immediately. That great story aspect of it. And I think 4 stars is a great... But the ending to the whole segment, automatic, I'm going to go 4.25.
Yeah, I was about to say, 4.25 would be about it because, that just kicked it up that extra notch.
So you're going with 4 or you're going with me? We going with 4.25?
I'm going to go ahead and say 4.25.
I changed the General's mind. I think, was it last week or the week before you changed mine?
I changed yours.
But this week, we're going with 4.25.
That was the cayenne pepper on the chili right there. Was the fact that you had this perfect blend of a match, and then you kicked it up and spiced it up just that notch by having Aleister Black just showing up at the end.
And the interaction between Aleister and Nikki Cross.
Mm-hmm.
And, just the way, like I said, she looked mesmerized by this guy, just crawling as slowly as humanly possible toward him. And then the look on his face. I mean, it was, and the fact that it's an awesome cliffhanger, and I'm going 4.25.
Yep, that was just fantastic. It was a great finish to a night that didn't start off promising, but ended just superbly. I had to applaud him for it. I was like, wow, this... they completely changed my mind on that one.
Now, if you made it this far in the video with us, we have an announcement to make.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this has become a thing. What's NXT with this guy? He works with me, so every Wednesday, this is what we do. We get off work, we come back, we watch the show, and we do the video. So, we're going to try tomorrow to do, obviously, tonight's episode, but we're going to do it tomorrow of NXT UK. We're going to start off with the first episode and see if you guys like it, see if we like doing it. We're actually looking forward to the show. He thinks this show is going to be better than the regular NXT. And I know it's already aired, but we're not going to watch it till tomorrow. So we wanted to let you guys know that soon to be, we're going to have our NXT party. So if any of the members of the No DQ Galaxy, or the No DQ team, I'm talking Cindy, Kayfabe Candy Ass, TJS, either of the Jeffs, Greg,
anybody,
Virtue, or Aaron Rift himself. If you would like to join us for a NXT party, tomorrow. We will be doing this probably about maybe midnight-ish.
Yes.
Maybe 12:30 after we watch NXT UK tomorrow night. Because it's an NXT party, get it? Yeah, I'm going to plug that until the end of this. Since it's an NXT party, we figured we'd invite a guest on every week. If anybody in the No DQ universe would like to be our guest for NXT tomorrow, obviously you have to watch NXT UK. But if you want to be a guest on our NXT party, hit us in the comments or catch me on Twitter. That's
plug.
Yeah, plug. You can go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's STEFAN. Or if you just want to open up your Twitter and search for me, it's Stefan R. Osborne, OSBORNE. Just hit me with a DM and ask if you want to be on NXT party tomorrow evening. If you're up late or not too late on the West Coast, we can probably fit you in there. Other than that, for the general Jerry Slaughter and the Wizard of No DQ, Stefan Osborne, check out No DQ for all your latest news and rumors regarding wrestling and up until the Women's Evolution and the Crown Jewel. And we will see you guys in NXT time.